One of the most powerful things you can say to yourself and almost immediately reconcile with whatever situation you're going through is by saying it is what it is. It's kind of like this magic phrase that allows you to accept what is, because that's what allows you to move forward and live in a proactive state instead of living in a reactionary state. And from a logical point of view, that's always been my counter to therapy. It's not that talking about it is necessarily a bad thing, like getting stuff off your chest, talking about your problems, maybe you're talking to one of your homies, just to get some stuff off your chest. But no matter how much you talk about something, unless you take action to change your circumstances, you are always going to stay in the same place in life. Like, you're always going to end up depressed. You have to take action, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Just take a step in the general direction that you want to go. And as you take those steps, your path will begin to unveil itself. And this is actually what stops most people, what keeps most people living in a reactionary state. Because everyone wants to see the exact path before they start to walk. Because they're terrified of what they don't know, can't see, or don't understand, or haven't experienced. Like, most people have a bunch of things they want to do but never take action because they can't see their road ahead. So they just end up never walking that path or going down that road or chasing their goals. You cannot wait for life to happen. You cannot wait for a sign. You can't wait to feel like it. You can't wait for motivation. You can't wait to get lucky. You get lucky by putting yourselves in positions to be lucky. So as you take action, the more lucky you become. It's kind of like a compounding effect. It's like gaining momentum. And this can't happen if you're living in a state where you're just waiting for life to happen to you, where you're just reacting to everything that comes. You have to be proactive. Whatever you want, you have to bend reality and the world to your desire with your willpower. When you're able to be less reactive to circumstances that happens to you, it allows you to detach. And I really do believe that the law of detachment is a real thing. Like, the more detached you are from a certain outcome, the more likely it is that you're able to manifest, for lack of a better word, the outcome that you want. It's kind of like how when you were a kid, right? Whenever you didn't want to get called on in class, whenever you were afraid to get called on, you're avoiding eye contact with the teacher, you forgot your homework, you're trying not to get called on. Like, it was always in those moments where the teacher would call on you, or at least that was the case for me. Like, the more fearful or the more afraid you are of a certain outcome, the more likely it is to actually happen, and vice versa. And a part of that really has to do with the energy that you put out in both situations. I saw an old Casey Neistat video, and it was a quick little short film about life. And he describes life as this sliding escalator that's going against you. Like, the ones that you see at airports. And he was basically trying to say that if you stand still on that sliding escalator in life, you will fall behind. Life is eventually going to push you out of the picture if you don't move, if you stay in the same spot. And when you're standing still, that's when you're the most depressed. That's when you're lonely. That's when all aspects of your life begin to deteriorate. Each and every single time, it was when you were standing still, living in a reactionary state, waiting for life to happen. That's normally when you're the most depressed or dissatisfied with your life. If you wait for life, if you're reacting to life, you are just going to be waiting to get run over. Now, if you walk on that sliding escalator, if you're just kind of coasting in life, you won't necessarily fall behind, but you're going to stay in the same place. Because that sliding escalator is basically a metaphor for time, right? Time is going against you. And this is normally the state that most people exist in, where things aren't necessarily good enough to where you're happy, but it's not bad enough where it forces you to make a change. And he was basically saying that if you want to get ahead on that sliding escalator that's going against you, that's life, you gotta hustle, you gotta run. You have to be proactive. You don't have to see the full picture, or you don't have to see the roadmap ahead. You just gotta take that first step, that first action, and stop waiting for life to happen. And it's something that you gotta ingrain in your mindset, because it's only ever going to be you. Whatever you want in life, whatever you're unhappy with, whatever it is that you want, you gotta make it happen. The blessings are going to come along the way, but you don't expect them. Like, you don't wait for them to happen. Because when you're simply waiting for that blessing, that's when life is the most unforgiving. Like, God is gonna bless you along the way, but Jesus helps those who helps themselves. You have to genuinely try. You gotta stop trying to see the finish line and realize that the path is going to illuminate as you walk it. And this applies to everything that you do in life. You just have to have the courage to walk that path. And God will bless those who are courageous, not those who show cowardice. Even under the context of dating, right? Bro, I would hate when people would give advice like, don't worry, she's out there, she's gonna come for you one day, she's gonna be there one day, you're gonna find her one day. Like, I hate that type of advice because it's such a lie. The girl you want isn't going to magically appear in your life and look in your direction. You have to go get her. Just like that employer from that company you want to get a job in isn't going to magically send you a cold email saying we'd love to have you. You actually have to apply, you have to interview, you have to show your credentials, and if you get rejected, it is what it is. Instead of being reactive, be proactive. Now you know your first step. Now you know the direction in which you have to go, or the direction that you have to pivot to. If you want to get jacked, if you want to be in shape, same exact thing. If you want to know how to be physically capable, same thing. Start hitting the gym, go learn wrestling, go learn Muay Thai, go learn kickboxing, go take boxing classes, go to an MMA gym. If you want to make content, right? Same exact thing. Stop trying to plan everything out. Your first video is going to suck regardless. Your first video is going to get 30 views regardless. You got to just start recording, post it, realize that you're going to cringe at yourself eventually. But as you start walking that path, now you have data points. Now you can adjust your path along the way. Like if you really think about it, that's always when the best things happen in life, when you decide to just go f it and just go for it. It's kind of like putting together a puzzle, right? The whole picture starts to become clear as you're fitting the pieces in. It's like you don't solve a puzzle by just standing there hoping that it'll come together when you see the whole picture. In that situation, that puzzle is never going to be complete. You're never going to solve your problems. And the same thing goes for anything in life. You have to start at a single point and then build upon that point that you started on. You have to put the onus on yourself to be proactive. Nothing is coming to you. Nothing is going to save you. And we all know that quote, right? And it's another one of those things where I wish I would have internalized sooner. Because even though it's like common sense, you hear it and it's like, yeah, of course, we're all living our own lives. Knowing something and internalizing it are two completely different concepts. When you internalize something, it's like you got to etch it into your mind, body, and your soul to where when you want something so badly, that's when your mind responds. And that's when it tells your body to move accordingly. Like when you want something, it's there, your body responds, you automatically take action. That's how you got to condition yourself. Very similar to women, life is oftentimes going to throw a lot of shit tests your way. Life is going to shit test you. And oftentimes you're going to realize that the worst decisions that you ever made were based on an impulse, were based on your initial reaction. For example, right, you got upset, so you acted out of frustration. You were texting a girl, she ghosted you, and you started getting anxious. You started thinking about losing her, and your instinctual reaction was to push harder, to try to secure her, to try to lock her down. She then feels your desperate energy, and you completely lost it. Completely failing to understand that if you just went, it is what it is, and moved on to the next, the chances of her coming back is actually that much higher. For whatever reason this is the case. Maybe it's because she's thinking in her head, I haven't texted him back in a day, he hasn't said anything, why isn't he simping for me or chasing me like these other guys, and she starts thinking that you don't care, which makes her reach out. Like I don't know why this is, but each and every single time I'm about to move on, I don't care, that's when they text back for whatever reason. And maybe you can attribute it to the energy you put out there, but this applies to everything in life in general. The less reactive you are to bullshit that comes your way, the more you can kind of just shrug your shoulders and go, it is what it is, not get hung up and keep it pushing. For whatever reason, the world starts to begin to bend to your will. And again, realize that there's a lot of bullshit that's going to come your way. Women will shit test you just like life is going to shit test you. You know, it's kind of funny. I remember back in the day when I was going on a lot of dates, there was this one girl that I went on a date with, and we got some in and out, got some drive through, went back to my spot afterwards, and we were sitting on my bed just vibing, watching some dating show, and she asked me, so how many people are you talking to right now? You can be honest. And she said that as if I was gonna lie or care to lie. And I was just like, oh, I'm talking to like 3-4 people right now, not too much. And she responded with, wow, that's so crazy. And then I asked her, what about you? And she said, only 2 other guys right now. But one of them actually asked me on a date this week, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna go. Listen, I don't know if she was capping or she was being honest or not, but it sounded like it was a response out of insecurity, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm pretty sure she wanted me to be like, no, don't go, like, stay with me or whatever. But instead, I just said, yeah, you should go. It sounds like it will be a great time. And I could kind of tell based on her reaction, this was like kind of a foreign experience to her, like having a guy not care this much. And it wasn't a front, like I just genuinely didn't really care that much. Like in that situation, I could tell she kind of wanted a reaction. And she just ended up saying, yeah, I don't know. Bro, being less reactive puts you in such a position of power no matter what it is that you're doing. And it really does communicate this extreme level of confidence and competence about you. Like the only way shit really gets to you in life is if you're a reactive person, and that's also how you put yourself in dumb situations. By just reacting all the time and acting out on your first instinct or whatever you're feeling or your emotions at the time. And it's the same reason why women will shit test the guys to see how reactive they are, to see how emotional they are. The less reactive you are, the more it communicates those leadership qualities and confidence and competence about you that she's looking for. Like if you've been in a relationship, right, a lot of times she wants to start an argument just because they want a reaction out of you. Like bro, you don't understand the power of watching her go on this rant or diatribe and then just responding with, okay, alright, it is what it is. And if you can translate that energy to the bullshit that comes your way in life when life shit tests you, you're going to be in a very good position no matter what it is you're trying to do. Anyways, hopefully you guys got some from that. We got about 5 more months of this year. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are on your goals, staying on track. And if you're not, then let's go even harder, right? Let's lock in. Anyways, make sure you stay true. Talk to you guys real soon. And I'll see you at the top. Peace.